Greetings once again, Gentleman Jim here. We're wrapping up our sew along on the tie. As you remember last week, I ended up basting everything in place. The final part of the tie was just merely sewing the edge together. Now, there are several stitches that are used when you close a tie. I'm going to show you some different stitches, but I'm going to show you the one that I prefer, and then I'm going to explain the reason why. Now, I'm going to show you that stitch in a minute, but I wanted to give you a few pointers and a few tips on a tie if you want to cut a tie. Remember, this fabric here was a cotton-based fabric, so it doesn't slide around like some of your silkier ties. Now let me give you some things on the silkier ones. Most ties are made out of either a silk or some type of polyester fabric, which has a smooth side on one side and it has kind of a rougher edge on the other side. Now, if you're going to cut, remember we used the tie that we got from any type of salvage or ex-mate in your life's tie. We used that as the pattern, which gave us the perfect fit for the tie. It gave us the filler to put in it. It showed us exactly what size to make your lining. It did all of that for us. Remember I told you, you don't press a tie down and get a sharp edge on it. You have a rounded edge. Now this is what makes the tie. So we try not to press it. Now, when I put the lining in, as you notice, I didn't really press any of that. You could take your thumbnail and just scratch it along the edge and it'll lay down for you. I try to discourage people from physically putting the steam and the iron on the tie because it bakes it down and it makes the edge sharp. We don't want that. We want a rounded edge. See? But going back to our satinier finish, most of these won't really slide once you put them on it. But notice how when I pull the tie, because it's on a bias, it stretches out. So what does that mean? That means when you go to cut the tie, you have to, some people use weights, some people use all kinds of things. You could take a ruler, put it right there, and then when you cut the tie, remember I told you about the pins of your fingers? All you have to really do is lay it down and cut your tie. That's all you have to do. The tie will stay in place. Now, if it's a real slick edge here, then just cut the tie on the opposite side because that has a rougher edge. Now with that rougher edge, it's not going to slide. When you lay it down in place, and especially if you put the rough side, see this is the rough side, the smooth side, if you put the rough side to the rough side, that's not going anywhere. If you feel more comfortable, put you a few pins in place. I'm not opposed to pins. I just like the natural ones better because see, I can put my hand on that, keep that in place, and cut around. So, those are the things. Now, suggestions. What do you buy when you go to a fabric store for a tie? You want to stay away from the real flimsy fabric, the charmeuses and all these other names that they give it. You want a tie with some substance in it. Any linen or cotton-based tie, you know it's going to be all right. But you don't want something that's going to be too flimsy. Now, here's a good tip on a tie. Remember, the tie is going to get a knot up here. Take the fabric in your hand and scrunch it up and let it go. And see if it wrinkles all up once you've scrunched it up. Because when you unfree that tie knot, if it's really, really wrinkled in there, then that tie, you would almost have to tie that tie in the same position every time so that you don't get down the tie, further down the tie, where you get a lot of wrinkles. Okay? So you want to make sure something does not wrinkle that bad. Most of your silks, your heavyweight silks, won't do that. If the silk is too light, it will do that. Trust me, I've worn ties all my life. It will do that on you. Most of your cotton-based ties, if it has a good body on it, it won't do that. So these are the things about cutting a tie and what to make them out of. Once you get that, once you've mastered that, make you a few of them up, the tie is a perfect gift to give to someone or for yourself. Thank you very much, and now I'm going to show you the hand stitching that closes the physical tie up where I basted it in place.